is all about precision, but do you really know where you're losing time? Your braking, throttle control, and racing line. Every detail matters, but without the right data, you're just guessing. This is where RACEDATA gives you the edge. Instantly analyze your lap data, see exactly where you're losing time, and make real improvements. Know your weaknesses, fix them, get faster. Stop guessing, start improving. Try RACEDATA today.
Hello everyone and welcome. We are live from the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, or Imola for short, situated in northern Italy. But tonight it is the RACEDATA AI ARL prototypes here on Apex Racing TV. We have qualifying coming up first with 20 minutes on the clock, where we'll pick up that action in just a moment's time, and then the full race, 60 minutes around this historical 4.9 kilometre or 3.05 mile circuit. My name is Ashley Denman. Alongside me is Dan Field and our production manager behind the scenes, Sam Fitzpatrick. Dan, Long Beach last time out was, well, pure chaos, but in a good kind of way. But tonight, a much different venue. I'm very much excited for it. I don't know how excited for it you are.
I mean, Imola's a classic circuit. It's very recognisable from its layout. It's a beautiful circuit. Not quite today in these overcast conditions. We're looking at a Ferrari now in its home race. I believe the only Ferrari on the grid. But certainly, we're in for a treat tonight. Maybe not as mental as Long Beach last time out, but I think we're going to see some great racing today.
Yeah, hopefully we will see some fireworks. And you mentioned there Ferrari's home circuit. That's what the Tifosi consider Imola as yeah, this is Cedric Holbom, the lone Ferrari driver out there this evening. Let's see what he can do at the home circuit for them. But yeah, like you said, it's a very odd overcast conditions, so track temperature not too high, only about 33, which for sort of Italy is quite low in that sort of standard, but air temperature is 19, so I would imagine we may see it drop ever so slightly over the session. But 10 minutes gone. We're in the final 10 minutes of qualifying now, so the fast GTPs are out there on circuit getting their first runs in, so we'll have to see who is going to be topping the timing field or timing tower fairly soon. But first of all, we really should be looking at the points and the standings as they lie. Let's have a look at the pro standings for the top class, the GTPs. We have Norbert Tomas is on 323, extending that lead over his teammate in Balázs Tarowski on 296. Antonina Segro is third with Benoit Favre and Diogo Salipa fourth and fifth. And then we jump over to the amateur side for the top class. Julian Retti on 239 has a nice buffer to Christian Malcharek in second, with Zoltan Bedo lining that top three. Ludovic Giret and Hugo Preto are fourth and fifth. We'll then jump on to the LMP2s, and the pro category really has hotted up from the last race, as Benjamin Figueroa only has a 1 point advantage over Aston Wilby, and not far behind them is Matthew Crisp there lining that top three, with Michael Harford-Darson after his win last time out fourth, and I can't quite work out who was fifth there, but we'll jump to the amateurs and see. Oh no, jumping back, James Ibram there was fifth. I do apologise, people, we will get there. Amateurs though, Fabio Grassetto is top and has a nice comfortable margin to Lucas Diaz. Nick Mercer is third, Joris Ooms is fourth, with Melvin Huygen for fifth. Well, there's the standings as they sit down. Let's have a look at also the teams. Manatee Racing absolutely storming ahead, over 100 points in front of the virtual drivers. Absolute Motorsport there are third. There's a close battle to keep an eye on for the podium spots. Focus Racing is fourth, with DCW in fifth. And then for the LMP2s, we have Alcantech is out up front, with Effect Simulations Club Sport not far behind. So that is very much a battle also to keep an eye on, and Effect Simulations were also third too, so not far behind, and the gaps seem to be closing up in the closing stages, Dan. I mean, this is exciting stuff. It's just a shame we haven't got as full of a grid as we normally do, but I'm sure we'll still have some fantastic action to look at.
Yeah, real shame about the numbers, but you know what? 18 drivers, 18 guys with potential to put on a fantastic performance today. As Norbert Tamash comes to the line, he is in first. His teammate Tiroshki in fourth as Nucera replaces John Williams on the front row of the grid. It's worth mentioning John Williams making his debut in the GTP, spent most of this season so far in the LMP2s, moved last week, but then decided wet Long Beach, not for me. I'll make my debut at Imola, and he's off to a good start as he replaces Nucera once again, going just 800ths to the rear of Norbert Tamash. This will be an exciting race for John Williams, I think.
It certainly will be. I can't say I blame him, especially with those conditions from last week at Long Beach. They were absolutely torrential, and yeah, quite rightly so. I mean, the GTP is a tricky car to drive even in dry weather, especially with the new tyre model update that we had not too long ago. So yeah, wet weather on top of that, I don't blame him passing that one up.
No.
But yeah, let's see how he does make it on his, well, let's call it his official debut here tonight for Williams in the top class. And well, he seems to be going pretty quick out the blocks. I mean, he's not far behind the leader, Tamas.
No, absolutely not. Tamas has really been the best driver so far this season. Really did get quite screwed over last time out in Long Beach with the incident with Krajvolik. There was a penalty issued for that. I believe 60 seconds was the official penalty as Norbert Tamash running off the road a little bit off the exit of Ravazza. And I got to say, Ashley, I think the beauty of this circuit is that I actually know it, as opposed to the other ones, as we see a few more laps coming in. Nucera to the top of the timing boards. Retty goes within just about 100th behind, and it's looking very close between the pros and the Ms.
Oh, Williams has now jumped to the top of that timing tower. So provisional pole then for the debutante, as Nucera is in second on that front row. We're just waiting, I think, for Tamash and Churowski to actually respond here. We've got less than 3 minutes on the clock, so it is ticking away bit by bit. Not long left to get a lap in, but I'm sure they are currently on one. We say that there's Churowski down there at the bottom of your screen. You can see the timing of each sector. Churowski not on a fast lap, so I think he might be charging that battery a little bit and getting ready to go for one final push. But his teammate Tamas, not too sure where he is at the moment. Either way, Williams, Nucera, front row, and then we get an amateur row of Retty and Uret, third and fourth. So exciting times in the top class, because the amateurs and the pros, they do like to mix it up here.
I mean, this has been a very, very close qualifying session so far. Tamash has gone purple in the third sector on his run, as we're still on board. We're on board with Nucera on a slow lap at the minute, but it's a very, very close qualifying session that we've got here. The top three separated by less than a tenth, the top two separated by half a tenth of a second. As we have a look at, I believe these are virtual drivers coming across the line. We're looking at Julian Retty. He is John Williams. I know Tamas has gone to the top of the timing order with a 1 minute 30.221, still only about half a tenth clear of John Williams, who will notch another time at the top of the order. It is everyone's throwing what they can at him, but every single time he's making it his mission to keep pole position here.
Yeah, certainly seems to have an answer at the moment continuously. They've got to be on their sort of final runs now. That's a big slide there. I'm just trying to work out who we're riding on board with. That was Diedrich Holbom in his Ferrari. So that's going to be a bit of a tough start for him. He is at the moment in ninth. So qualifying not going particularly well for the sort of home race of that car, at least. As we still got the timing screen up there along the bottom, you can see who is improving, who is not. Tamash has gone faster still in the first sector and the third. He's also set a personal best in the second. I would imagine he's definitely going to be improving on his time by the time we get round to the sort of checkered flag, the start-finish line. Purple once again, he's really flying now. Here we are riding on board with him. Only Ravazza to go, the double left-hander here before we get on to that start-finish straight. How much is this going to be an improvement by, though? 3 purple sectors out of 5 so far. Is it going to be 4? His teammate's gone to provisional pole. What has Tamas done in the end? It's been updated. There we go, 3:10. This is quite some margin. Has Williams got a response?
I think for the first time this session, John Williams does not have a response. Slower in 4 out of the 5 sectors on his previous best. How about that from Norbert Tamash? A 1 minute 29.789 to round off his qualifying. His teammate Tarowski 3/10 his inferior. A brilliant run from Tamash there. But it's not over. We've still got more drivers on the lap, and Tarowski improving in the first 2 sectors.
So is John Williams. He's gone green in the first. So this, yeah, like you say, definitely not over yet. They managed to get on one final flying run before the checkered flag came out into sort of this lower part of the circuit, and then on the rise up to the Variante Alta, the highest point of this circuit, through the chicane here, hop, skip and a jump over the curbs, trying to abuse the circuit as much as they can within the confines of the rules, of course, and then down on the run towards Ravazza. Last few corners on this circuit, Tarowski still going his personal best all the way up to this point. He's got this final sector to go now. Is it going to be a big enough of an improvement though to knock Tamash off his perch? We'll find out in a few moments time, because here he comes up to the line now. As he crosses it, has he improved? No doubt he will have, but has it been enough for him to take the top? No, it's not. He's just a 10th off.
Very close to his teammate. What about John Williams? Green in the first 3 sectors, a little bit slower in the 4th. His hill come up to the line. Can he challenge possibly Tarowski for the front row of the grid? He'll come across the line. No, it will be an improvement on his previous best, but he will remain in P3. Zoltan Bedo, the last driver on a lap, I do believe, will peel it off into the pit lane, meaning Tamash is your pole sitter.
Yeah, fantastic. And Manatee Racing, the only 2 drivers to get in the 129. So really impressive from those 2 out there. And it just shows you why they are to the top of the standings, 1 and 2 as well. Just pace, week in, week out. I don't know how they manage it, but they really do have some class, the pair of them. The Hungarian duo, it's almost frightening. They don't seem to have a weak circuit.
They are just brilliant, and it took a complete mess of a race last time out to even get close to stopping them, and I still think Tarowski took the victory in that one. So, I mean, Manatee Racing, the pair of them, the Hungarian drivers, just fantastic. And over the course of a race, look unbeatable.
They certainly do, and we also saw Tamash fight his way back to 3rd as well, so still maintains that 100% podium streak. Mighty impressive stuff from him as well, as we just wait here to get the grid sort of all ready and set on this sort of misty day in northern Italy. But it's certainly going to be an interesting one, this, Dan. Of course, I think the grid, it certainly looks that way as well. I mean, we've got the pros out the front, as you kind of would expect, but there is not massive gaps between them all. Tamash there taking that pole position brilliantly by a 10th over his teammate in Tarowski. Manatee Racing 1 and 2. John Williams on his GTP debut will take 3rd on that 2nd row, with Simona Nucera in 4th. Then we get to the amateurs in Julian Reti and Ludovic Juret. Virtual drivers occupy the 3rd row. Leo Leong 7th, with Zoltan Bedo in 8th. As we move slightly further down here, Ethan Monroe is going to be 9th for DCW Racing, with Cedric Holbom in his Ferrari for Sim Race Sweden Esports. Nathaniel Wilkins will then take up the final spot of the GTP category. And then we get to the LMP2s, which is a bit more of a mixed bag here. Lucas Diaz will take pole position, even though he is an AM driver, but pace is certainly not lacking for him. James Ibram will be then 13th, with Benjamin Frigerio in 14th, with Michael Halfledarson 15th and Fabio Grassetto 16th. And towards the final spots on the grid, Matthew Crisp 17th and Aston Wilby in 18th. Wilby's got some making up to do here for qualifying, because he is challenging Frigerio for that overall pro category. Only a point separating them, Dan. How important is this launch going to be for him, at least?
Well, he needs the best start absolutely possible. Starting right at the rear, he really has got nothing to lose, and I think Aston Wilby will use that to his advantage, really push the drivers around him and try and catch up to Benjamin Frigerio, who admittedly hasn't pulled off his best qualifying so far this season. Definitely an interesting battle in the LMP2s to look for.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm looking forward to this one massively. It's such a historic circuit, this one. It oozes character. challenging corners, and it definitely earns its place among sort of one of the favourites in drivers and fans alike. And it's, you can trace the circuit's origins, or the sort of the area, you could say, all the way back to sort of Roman amphitheatres when they were hosting chariot races in sort of 80 BC. So yeah, you really can sort of expect a lot of history from this place, of course, in ancient times, and then the modern day itself. Of course, circuit built back in 1953, mainly from public roads, but it has been converted into a full facility now. But yeah, it's certainly a magnificent place, magical, some probably would say, as we get ready here behind the safety car to begin, and drivers just warming up and getting ready in the mindset.
It's a brilliant circuit. It's a really classic racetrack. All the new tracks you see being built nowadays have all the runoff in the world. But look at the edge of the circuit there, just pure grass and gravel. It's a beautiful track, and we are set for a beautiful race today.
Certainly are. It's old school. I think that's the word we're sort of looking for, aren't we? It's, like you say, virtually no runoff area, but I mean, you can't really get much more because it is right in the heart of the city here. But either way, round the final corner they go over Ravatsa, final proper corner, you could argue at least. There goes the Porsche into pit lane. So now it's about when Tomas wants to go for green racing conditions. Who's going to get the better launch? Of course, you're going to want to try and break the slipstream as you make your run down towards the first proper corner in the Tamburello chicane. This first corner here, really just a kink in the straight. You are flat out through it, of course, and it looks like his teammate Intarowski got a little bit of a poorer getaway. He's going to have to go defensive into turn number 1 or 2, I should say, for Tamburello. John Williams trying to sneak down the inside of that second part of the chicane. Cars off in the background. I think that's Hugo Preto having a little bit of a tricky getaway as the virtual drivers there still cementing their positions in the middle of the pack. And here come the LMP2s, Dan.
LMP2's getting their launches up to Lucas Diaz to pull the trigger, and there they go, heading in towards the first corner. Green flag for the LMP2 drivers as they're all bunching up into that turn number 1. James Ibram is leading the pack. Frigario trying to squeeze through the middle. They're 3 wide into that first corner at Tamburello, that first braking zone at Tamburello, as there's 2 Alcantech drivers going side by side. I believe that's Hafledasa. Oh, spin off at the back. Who's that's gone round? Is that Frigario? Frigario and Hafledasa, the pair of them, have gone round.
Oh, that could be absolutely huge in terms of championship points as well. Frigario, of course, leading it into this race, but that is a very stricken LMP2 car. I don't think he's going to be getting that back. Surely he will have to tow that one back to pit lane, and that's going to be quite painful, but luckily does have a fast repair still at his disposal. Let's hear how it unfolded though here. I think it's just going to be cold tyres, or maybe that could have been a little bit of a touch. Yeah, it could well have done. Maybe another angle might help us out on this one. Here we go.
Helicopter ham, who is this? So we're watching Frigario. What has happened there? Who's that on his inside? That's Hafledasa. No, is that? I think it's Matthew Crisp that's hit him there. Indeed it is. So Matthew Crisp, Frigario's not going to be happy with him there.
No, he certainly isn't going to be. But I mean, sometimes that is sort of what happens when you're racing so tightly compact on the opening lap. And circuits which have those sort of faster corners, it's easy to just tag the rear bumper of another driver, and round they go. And that is what has happened on this occasion. We've already finished the first lap. The GTPs have at least, and we're already up to Tosa once again and climbing up to Piratella for the second time, as here come the LMP2s, and this is a challenge for the lead. Ibram down the inside of Diaz into Tamburello. That was a textbook overtake for Ibram there, looking to make up from the disappointing Long Beach last week.
Yeah, and I want to pull that gap as best he can to Lucas Diaz. They've got a nice buffer to Grassetto in behind. Here as Aston will be. He, I think, avoided all of the contact and collisions, as Matthew Crisp is all over the place. I think there might be a bit of lag going on there with the Alcantech driver. He really is just disappearing off the road. There's Michael Hafledasa, another driver caught up in the first sector shenanigans on the very first lap. Very disappointing coming off his win last time out, as we're getting a replay once again. This is what happened with Michael Hafledasa in through Tamburello. I believe there's a car up his inside. Indeed it is. Is in towards the corner. He goes, just drops it on entry.
That is cold tyres right there. Through. Small tap into the barrier, but luckily no huge damage for him. That is just cold tyres. We saw through the first part of that chicane, he got a little bit squirrely off the exit of sort of turn 3, or you could argue turn 2, however you want to look at it. But I think that already upset the car, and then a tighter angle into the final part of that chicane, and the car was just not gonna give and grip, and that was the result of it. Luckily no big contact for him in the wall, but the rest of the drivers out there, they've all been able to make it round for lap number 3 now, relatively chaos free. Current order is still Tomasz Tarowski, Williams as they started. Nucera, of course, in 4th as well. Retty, Giret, Marone, Holbom's managed to climb a position, I believe, from his starting block. So he's now up to 8th now overall. And like we said, the only Ferrari out there on circuit. So hoping maybe for a little bit of home advantage. But he's certainly got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he's looking to do the Tifosi proud, and we've got the one Acura of Nathaniel Wilkins struggling further back behind. There's a nice little battle going on between the GTPs. I believe 4th down to 7th is relatively close on circuit. So that's a nice 4-car trainers through the Variante Alta. Will bite for the first time. Nathaniel Wilkins having a little slide. Luckily is able to get it back onto the circuit and just kind of brush it off. Hope no one saw. Unfortunately for you, Nathaniel, we caught you on the broadcasters. Here is Nucera. He's got the train behind him, looking to catch back up to the top 3 as we're on board with Ethan Marone in the wheel tracks of Uret.
Yeah, here we go. Will we be able to get alongside to make a lunge? Tricky circuit to overtake at here for Imola. I think we could both agree on that one there, Dan. Of course, we are, a bit more familiar with Formula 1, a bit more downforce, but here's a car. Oh, Cedric Holbom for his Ferrari has found the gravel. I think that is through Tamburello. Let's get a replay. What has happened there? Down the start-finish straight, all neat and tidy so far. No issues at all. I would imagine it's going to be under braking here for Tamburello, and he goes a bit deep. Too much speed. Too much speed.
Just didn't get the car slowed, then tried to turn it in and really just lost the back end. Very unfortunate for Cedric Holmbom. Now he's in the crosshairs of Nathaniel Wilkins. That is for 10th overall and 10th in class. A very disappointing start for the pair of these guys, but it's a long race. Can you believe after all that's happened, we're only about 6 minutes in. So there's plenty of opportunity for more action to be had. Looking very close in the LMP2 side of things between James Ibram and Lucas Diaz, and then there's a bit of a gap between Diaz and Grassetto, where all the Alcantech drivers and Aston Wilby are following in behind each other.
And there's Hafler Darson as well, sort of bringing up the rear after his early mistake, but still in this race and not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. And Frigerio a lap down, but still in it. And of course, we've seen plenty of things happen previous rounds, and who knows what's going to happen here this evening. And like you said, Dan, we are only 6 minutes in, so lots of time for things to occur. This is Tarowski here for the GTPs. He is very much being hunted down by John Williams on his debut, and Sarah right there as well, getting the grand seat, you could argue, of a battle that we could potentially unfold here. Through Tosa they go, and up towards the rise of Piratella, and then before they drop back down for Acqua Minerale. I think probably one of my favourite sections on any racetrack. This magnificent left-hander, which you really do have to hold your momentum through it, but not run wide. And then this double apex right-hander of Acqua Minerale. It's just fantastic. I don't really think you get many circuits with sections like that.
No, it's challenging in all the right ways, because when you hook it up, it might be one of the most satisfying parts of the circuit, just in general. When you're racing, it's one of the best feelings when you hook up Piratella and Acqua Minerale. Then through Variante Alta, pretty cookie cutter, just right-left chicane in towards Ravazza 1 and 2. The exit is key for Tarowski. If he's slow out of this final corner, well, John Williams will be all over him, headed down the start-finish straight and in towards Tamburello once again for the 6th time in this race. It's flying by for them, certainly. They are getting around the circuit very, very quickly as Tarowski into the first corner they go. Williams making his intentions clear. He's happy to sit behind Balázs Tarowski for the time being, but I think a time will come very, very soon, actually, where John is not going to be best pleased with the pace that Tarowski's keeping up.
I mean, potentially not. I think this is going to be, of course, a very different race than what we've potentially seen in the last few weeks, in that we will definitely, no doubt, have a pit stop here. I think that's to say the least. But I think also, because it is difficult to overtake, there's no real point of a circuit where you look at it and go, that is a clear, obvious overtaking spot, apart from maybe Tamburello. But apart from that, you really need to nail your momentum and speed to get alongside to begin with. So very tricky to overtake. So I think strategy and sort of psychologically for these drivers, it's about, you know, taking your opportunities when they come, of course, but trying to get into the mind of the other driver, make them make a mistake as opposed to forcing a move. And of course, it is going to come down to strategy as well, I think. So Williams, yes, he is stuck behind Trotsky. I don't know if he's just happy sitting there to save fuel, maybe, or whether he is going to try and want to get past at some point soon.
Well, we're in through Ravazza 1 and 2 once again, and Williams looks a little bit closer than he did last time out, but again, you can't really force an overtake, especially around a circuit like this, and as far as I'm aware, there's no push to pass in these cars. There's certainly no DRS, so Tarozki is just going to lead these guys in this very, very short and sweet little 3-car train. They've certainly pulled the gap to the amateur drivers, these guys, but they have lost a lot of time to Norbert Tamash. Here's Fabio Grassetto, the championship leader in the LMP2 Amateur Series. He has got Matthew Crisp and Aston Wilby for company, and Wilby, he will definitely have some urgency about him to get these moves done at some point in the race. Maybe not now, but certainly there will be an opportunity for him, as Nucera has moved ahead of Williams. Look at them side by side.
I was going to say he's not quite got the move done yet, because Nucera is down the inside of Williams there as they make their way through Piratella. Williams going for the up and under, though. This is not normally a part of the circuit. You see this kind of action, and no, we're not going to see it, because it would be a bit daft to try it. And Nucera does indeed cement that position and the podium spot. Let's hear how that all began, in fact, as we go through the Villeneuve chicane then. What has happened to Williams that enabled Nucera to get alongside? There it is, going to be a lunge into Tosa. Got it stopped and hooked it up into the apex nicely, though, and that was all he needed. And well, we saw the rest, how it all unfolded, but fantastic overtake from Nucera there. I think that might have caught Williams a bit napping.
Yeah, a little bit of nudging between the pair of them. Then Williams tries to use the momentum of the up and under and has the outside line through Aqua Minerale, but I think someone had to give there, and it was going to be John Williams. Nucera had to commit to that move, but now they've cost a lot of time to Tarozki up ahead, about 1.3 seconds or something of the sorts behind at the minute, one and a half between himself and Tarozki. That will leave him vulnerable to Williams at other points in this race, so it's a short-term game, maybe a little bit of a long-term loss, because John Williams will be happy to sit behind as it stands. But once this race continues on, he might not have Tarozki right in front of him for the taking like before.
No, potentially not, but we'll wait and see. And I want to bring up your point that we had earlier, Dan, in that they don't have a push to pass in this top category, the GTP, but they do have a battery that they have to maintain, and they can sort of decide. Maybe you remember sort of the older Formula 1 games, you can change the battery into sort of I guess quali mode or full out attack, or whether you want to charge it. So that's kind of the system that you have here in a GTP class. So there is a little bit of strategy element in that, because you do of course need to make sure that you are managing and keeping on top of it, as well as all of those things. Battery, making sure you got your racing line. They need to really nail those braking zones as well, especially around a circuit like this. And well, Dan, don't I have the equipment and potentially the software for you to help you do that on a regular basis in RACEDATA AI, and they do have a fantastic software that you can use to help you improve your performance right from word go. Day one, simple and clear instructions that this telemetry tool can provide to you. So do check them out in the description below, because they are an absolutely fantastic software tool to use, and the proud sponsor of the ARL prototype. So RACEDATA AI, go check them out in the description below.
I've got to say, that was a 10 out of 10 segue there, honestly. Always learning about these cars, and I'm falling in love with the prototype series and these cars. I might watch some endurance racing, as we got one of the first pit stops of the day. Nathaniel Wilkins very early, 12 and a half, well, just about 13 minutes into this race. Wilkins is into the box. There's another car in front of him. That is Cedric Holmbaum, who is I guess, given up. He's 4 laps down at the minute, so I guess he is out of this race. Maybe he had an incident at some point where he had a lot of damage. He had his spin earlier, but yeah, Holmboom 4 laps down and presumably out of this race.
I would imagine if he's already 4 laps down, yeah, potentially has given up the ghost on that one. Shame, but yeah, the lone Ferrari out at the home circuit for the team. So yeah, Holborn no longer a part of it by the seams of things. But either way, we've still got plenty of drivers out there going round at a rate of knots. Nathaniel Wilkins back out after his pit stop very early, like you said there, Dan. But maybe that is a strategy he is trying to play, in that he doesn't want to catch the LMP2s. But you know, in doing so, he's actually dropped right in front of them, potentially into a bit of a battle here, because I think he's slightly in the way. If he's changed tyres as well, he's going to be slower than those LMP2s.
Yeah, and especially through the hairpin at Tosa, Grassetto flashing the lights, not happy about Nathaniel Wilkins just appearing on circuit in front of him. Once he gets those tyres up to temperature, Nathaniel Wilkins should very easily pull away from these guys, but definitely a bit of an annoyance, like a fly in front of your monitor for Fabio Grassetto. And now Wilkins, once he catches up to Ibram and Diaz, he'll have to wade through that traffic, so that could be potential for some carnage. But yeah, Grassetto, I think, has lost a bit of time to Crisp and will be in behind with the Acura in front of him. We'll see how this pans out. What is shaping up to be, I'd say, a very exciting LMP2 battle here.
Yeah, I think it's certainly the one to keep your eye on the most, particularly with what's at stake as well. I mean, Frigerio definitely, I feel, is going to be losing out here this evening. He's already 2 laps down and, of course, will be a few positions ahead. But, I mean, in terms of points that they will pick up, it's just about where you finish in class. As long as you do finish, I believe it's within 90% of the overall race distance. Oh, it's within 6 laps, I'm being told, so apologies that. It's within 6 laps, so as long as he stays within the 6 laps of the class leader, he will still pick up points, and not far behind will be as well. So keep an eye on that one. But yeah, as Nathaniel Wilkins does take a little bit of a trip through the gravel.
Oh dear, Nathaniel Wilkins, he's having a bit of a struggle so far in this race. He'll try his best to catch up to Ibram and Diaz. They should be just up the road, as Tarozki has been caught up by Simone Nucera. And certainly in race trim, Tarozki has been struggling. He's lost a lot of time to Tamás in front of him, just about 5.5 seconds between the 2 Hungarian teammates. You can see the gaps here, and how much Tamás has actually been pulling away every single lap, especially on lap number 10. And so hang on, I have no idea all these graphics. There's a big gap there at some point. I don't know what the telemetry say. Maybe Ashley, you should take over there.
In all honesty, I'm struggling a little bit to read it with it flicking around. However, I think the point is, he has been pulling away, and he's been consistently pulling away. So Tamás has obviously gained about 5.5 seconds over his teammate in Tarozki, who we're riding on board with here, with Nucera breathing down his neck. But consistently, I think Tamás has been in the 130s, whereas Tarozki and the rest have sort of been in around about the 131s, as that is going to be the move there, down towards Ravazzi. You don't often see it around the outside, but Nucero's gone for it, chopped the nose off of Tarozki, and my, what a move that was for Simone Nucera. Fantastic stuff here on lap number 12.
Yeah, putting on a show in his home race. He's caught 2 drivers off guard with his moves. We're going to get a replay of that one on board with Tarozki. And we'll just see. We'll see him. I believe he went around the outside or down the... I don't really know. There's only 2 options. He could have gone around the outside. There it is. And you can see him appearing on the right of your picture, out of nowhere. Simone Nucera, a very, very tidy move, I gotta say, through Ravazzi 1 and 2, a place where you really do not see overtakes. Here we are on board with Nucera, following in the wheel tracks right on the bumper of Tarozki, and he just got the sense he wants to go for that move. He saw the opportunity, grabbed it with both hands, went around the outside of Ravazzi 1, and that's a 10 out of 10 move from me.
Yeah, certainly. Well, from me as well. It's very, very brave, and of course it does favour the bold being that way. And yeah, I think again though, it's sort of drivers getting a bit complacent, knowing that it is difficult to overtake, and so I felt maybe Tarozki just didn't feel like it was going to be on, and Nucera knew that, took advantage of it, and just caught him napping, I feel. But either way, Nucera is through, up into second place. Maybe it's a bit of a home track advantage for him. Who knows? Either way, we're going to see if he can chase down Tomas out front, but a 6-second buffer for the Hungarian. It's going to be quite some doing to bring that gap down, particularly with the consistency that Tomas has got on show here. Just going to gauge roughly what the last lap was. Nucera actually fastest on the last lap, 1:39 to Tomas's 1:31.1.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. And another interesting factor is that John Williams has come into the pit lane. He's biting the bullet on out of all the GTP Pro drivers, but certainly Nucera is pulling that gap. He's getting further away from Tarowski, and he's closing in Norbert Tamas. That will be an interesting battle towards the end of this race. Here are the fastest laps, I believe, that they've done a previous lap, sorry. So he was about 2/10 quicker last time out. But yeah, look at the gap between himself and Tarowski in terms of their lap times. He's blown him out of the water. Nucera, I believe, is that quickest man on circuit.
He certainly was last time, at least anyway. Tomas still has fastest lap overall. Interesting driver I want to point out there in all of that was actually Giret. He was, I think, the only other driver on the 1:30.9 there. All of the other sort of amateur GTPs around him, at least, in the 1:31s. It's not a massive advantage, but it is certainly one that he is holding. He's not far behind his teammate Ovretti, so maybe we can see that battle closing in as the race wears on. Just coming up to the 20-minute mark now, so a third of the way into this race. Don't quite know where the time has gone personally for me. Plenty of action still going on around the circuit, but I think this maybe just getting into a little bit of a slump here in the midpoint, but I'm sure these gaps are going to start closing up once again. I say that, I think I've spoken too soon.
Here is Tarowski on the back of Nucera. Something's happened with him there because he's lost all the time that he gained on Tamas, and Tarowski is right behind him, and you can see there's a couple of LMP2s right in front of these guys. They are of no volition to give up the position, and in towards Villeneuve, I believe this is. Oh, Nucera trying to send it up the inside, hasn't quite worked out, and now Tarowski looking towards Tosa. Can he go for the move as Nucera looks up the inside once again, but he can't find the move. Headed through Tosa, off the exit of the corner, in towards Piratella. Can he finally get through on the LMP2? Indeed he can. But wow, that was a heart-in-mouth moment for him. Tarowski is certainly all over him, and I fear for Nucera, because if he's getting frustrated in that cockpit, that he could make a mistake very, very soon, as we are looking at the rear view from Fabio Grassetto in towards Variante Alta. Should be a very easy move for these guys, but the Italian man, oh dear, contact, he's been spun by Tarowski.
Oh, no. He's
come back onto the circuit, and the teammates have collided. That is Matthew Crisp going into Fabio Grassetto. There's a virtual driver trying to wade his way through. Very disappointing situation there.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it all came undone in the end. Big shame. And the two LMP2 drivers here, teammates of course, got caught up and had a collision themselves through the chicane. Here we go, on board with the replay. So Nucera through clean and easy. Tarowski trying to sneak his way in, but there is still a car there, and they do have to make their way into the corner, and then the carnage ensued afterwards. Retty getting through. I think that was Giret, the second virtual driver, almost colliding there with Grassetto as they rejoin back on the circuit, so that was also close as well. Let's get another view of this. This is Crisp.
Yeah, here's the onboard with Matthew Crisp. I mean, Grassetto just kind of turned in, didn't expect the car there, nowhere to go for Matthew Crisp. Couldn't get that stopped in time. Hopefully there's not too much damage to his Dallara, but he'll try his best to continue. The pair of them are in the pit lane, and they're getting going once again, but a little bit of drama. 20 minutes into this race, we're a third of the way through now. Very sad to see, and now they're inside each other. Brilliant.
Oh, who's going to give this one up as they get onto the exit? Crisp is going to pull away. Okay, fair enough. Wasn't sure how they wanted to work that one out, but maybe Pro Driver gets the upper hand in that, but Grassetto dropping that down to 16th now from it. Big shame for Alcantech, really. And oh, that's wide there from Crisp into Tamburello, or should I say out of Tamburello, almost getting it into the wall. Luckily, the gravel slowed him down enough. Through grows Grassetto once again, but that was a very much a hold your breath moment there for Matthew Crisp.
Yeah, he'll need a change of boxers after that one, certainly, as we're having a look at Julian Retty. This is shaping up to be quite a nice fight between two teammates, between himself and Ludovic Juret in the amateur class. In all of that chaos that ensued a couple of minutes ago, Juret was able, I believe, to overall close up. The gap at one point was about 2.6 between the pair of them. Now it's just 1.2. So certainly Juret has closed the margin between himself and Julien Juret, the two Frenchmen looking to do battle at some point. But of course, I'd imagine they're going to be in a Discord server together. They're going to be colluding, well, not colluding, but working together and just, hey, let's chill out, let's take it easy today.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the sort of championship standings, I mean, Juret is 27 points behind his teammate in Retty, and they also still have to think of the team standings at the end of the day, because everything does matter in sort of these series that we put on here for the Apex Racing TV, or ARL, the Apex Racing League. So either way they look at it, I think they do need to try and keep their noses clean, because the last thing they want is teammate contact, because that is the cardinal sin of racing, is hitting your teammates. So definitely don't want to be doing that at the end of it, but at the moment it should be interesting, because Juret is definitely the faster driver of the pairing, so I wonder if we may hear or see some team orders when he does catch up.
Yeah, certainly, as out of Ravatsa once again they go. I wonder what the pit strategy is going to be in terms of the GTP amateurs. We've seen John Williams come into the pits about maybe 10 minutes ago at this point. It was a very early stop from him there. We've really not seen anyone make a planned pit stop since. So it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of this race pans out, especially in the GTP amateur drivers. I think this is probably going to be the class to watch. Certainly that, and the GTP pros, once Nucera and Tarozki will find their way back with John Williams at some point. That'll be a very fun battle, but we're coming up to halfway through in this race. Where has all that time gone? We're having a great time here at Imola.
Certainly is fantastic. I think the strategy Williams has gone for is this is going to be a move for Diaz, trying to get past. I think that is an LMDH car, so it's for position, you would say, but I think that is Nathaniel Wilkins just getting past the LMP2 and now should shoot off down the road. You can see the power difference when they do get their foot to the floor as through goes another virtual driver. That's a nice easy one into the chicane. That is how you do it, as Wilkins is also being flashed at to get out of the way. In terms of Williams, sorry, getting back to my point, I think when we look at it in terms of strategy, I think what he has gone for here is he's trying to get the pit stop out the way early and hope that being put into clean air, he's not having to race anybody on circuit. He simply just has to put in some hot laps, and he is racing himself in the clock. And so getting out of the way early, he's able to do that. He can focus on himself and not have to worry about putting a move in or sitting behind or anything like that. And he's just hoping that when the pit cycle comes around for everyone else, he's then ahead.
Well, of course, he wasn't involved in the drama that happened down at Variante Alta because of his pit stop, so he was able to keep his nose clean when others couldn't. And what could have happened if John Williams was in that affair with Nucera and Tarozki and Grassetto? It's coming up to about 10 minutes to go at this point. So yeah, John Williams, he's certainly made an interesting move, and I think it's going to be a call that he will benefit from in the end, as Ethan Marone is into the pits. He's looking to maybe do something similar where he's just trying to get away from everyone else, and so out of the pit lane and in towards Tamburello he goes. It's been a very quiet race from Ethan Marone today.
Yeah, certainly has done. I think a few drivers may be feeling a bit that way as well, but plenty of gaps opening up, but there are still some cars close together to have a look at for some action. James Ibram, though, has pretty much been sort of on his own once he was able to get past Diaz. You can see there, just going through the chicane was Diaz. And so he has got a nice healthy advantage, as there goes Wilkins past the LMP2 driver. He should now definitely shoot off as they come out of Ravatsa and down the start-finish straight now. But you can see just how much the cornering speed of the LMP2 is. He's able to hold it with the best of them. It's just obviously down the straights like this, he's able to just absolutely dart off, purely just from the power difference and the battery that the GTPs have.
And we're looking at James Ibram getting past on Lucas Diaz. This was a while back, in towards Tamburello, looking to the inside of the first kink in the road, and then in towards the corner they go. He'll be later on the brakes, ahead on entry. It was a very nice, tidy, textbook move from James Ibram there to get himself into the class lead of the LMP2s.
Yeah, certainly was, and he really hasn't looked back since. He's opened up 5 seconds between himself and Diaz at this point, so certainly trying to stamp his foot of authority on this race. But they are in different classes, of course. Ibram leading the pro category, Diaz leading the amateur category, but they are, racing overall on the circuit themselves. But it's a shame, we have lost a few drivers, I think, in terms of sort of not strategies, what's the word, incidences. Frigerio, of course, lap 1, Grassetto got caught up as well, so it has been a little bit of a woeful time for the LMP2 class as a whole, but they are still pretty close together when you look up and down the time in town. Not masses of gaps, but hopefully they'll start to close in on each other as we get later, and potentially after we've seen some pit stops as well. Still plenty of time for it all to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, these are the intervals on your screen, and they are beginning to close up ever so slightly. Frigerio's being invited back into some battles. He's kind of just been by himself, but with Crisp and Grassetto having their moments, as Lucas Diaz dipping a tyre into the gravel almost off the exit of Ravazza. He is leading the amateur drivers as it stands on an island at this point in the race. He's got Leo Leung just behind him. Should be a very easy overtake around the outside into Tamburello for Leo Leung. Also having a bit of a quiet race. He's 4 seconds to the rear of Zoltan Bedo, who is also on his own at this point. So everyone following all these incidences and moments of carnage, they've all separated out. But I think at one point, once they all sort of come back closer together, certainly in the pit stop phase of this race, we can see some action, as we are very, very close, just 10 seconds away from being halfway through.
Yeah, I feel like this could be a bit of the calm before the storm in this race, certainly in that sort of aspect. As we jump back on board here with the leader, Norbert Tamas, once again getting right out front, creating a nice gap, and just trying to run away with it. He's got about a 10-second buffer between him and Nucera behind, who also has opened up a little bit of a margin to Tamas's teammate in Trotsky. So Manatee 1-3 as it stands right now. And then we do get back into the sort of amateurs. Reti, Juret, Bedo and Leung before Williams, the first of the stoppers there in 8th position. You can see there on the little overlay, the gap. It has been slowly opening up, but I think that is partially and mainly down to the fact that they are trying to navigate traffic in the LMP2s. I feel that Nucera just got a bit more unlucky than Tamas.
Yeah, Tamas has been able to just kind of wade through the traffic. This is Aston Wilby, I believe, in front of him now. And, Norbert Tamas is just going to be able to send it through in towards Piratella. Very nice and tidy. And he was quickest last lap. Not last lap. The lap before, he set his fastest lap of the race. So Norbert Tamas is still loving life at the very front of the field. That is actually the fastest lap overall of a 1:30.2. Here as Nucera has very much pulled a gap ahead of Tarozki after they had all the calamity through Variante Alta. You can see all the fastest laps on your screen. It's a wall of green. That is everyone setting their personal bests last time by, their best overall lap. My apologies there, but indeed, Norbert Tamas is the quickest overall, and Nucera is the only one that's really close to him. Tarozki as well, but shout out to Juret and Marone in the 1:30s too.
Yes, certainly. I mean, Nucera, he's the only one looking to potentially challenge for that win overall. But it's all well and good getting the fastest lap in. The most important thing, though, of course, is the consistency. And unfortunately, Tamas also has that very well and truly in his skill locker. So, he's quick over 1 lap. He's also quick over 20. So he really is a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, Nucera is doing a little bit of an inroad now on that gap between himself and Tamas. It has now gotten down to 9.4 seconds. So slowly but surely coming down over this last lap and a half. Let's see if he can keep that up, because that is the hardest bit to do, as he does also pull away from Tarozki behind. But yeah, gaps certainly starting to open up. But I think also, Dan, maybe it's down to the circuit itself. It is, very fast flowing, a fair amount of gradient to go with it. Of course, it was laid initially on public roads, so it does have a lot of bumps, undulations up and down this, you can say. And so precision is key, but doing it lap after lap, very tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just goes once again to show how wonderful this circuit is, that it doesn't just carve into the land, but it ebbs and flows with it. Look at this corner, Piratello, as we're watching Leo Leung. They have that fast downhill descent, and then again it drops in towards Aqua Minerale, which in English just means mineral water, and then they climb up the hill again. It is an absolutely stunning circuit. And I love it when you compare it to tracks like Yas Marina. They built a whole island for that track, but this is just pure circuitry at its finest. I love Imola. I'm having a great time right now.
Yeah, so I think that's, I think in terms of the hallmark of circuits, the best, personally for me, are the older guard. You can call them that, I think, in that they, like you say, they're built around the contours of the earth and they're not just carved through it. And that gives them extra characteristics. I think, and you might hate me for saying this, of course, Europe certainly has the most popular, I feel, but I think America actually did it best when they were building their circuits all those years ago. They really are just bumps because they just paved over what was already there. And if there was a bump there, they just rolled with it. And will they smooth it out today? No, they won't. They have just gotten on with it. That's just part of the circuit.
Yeah, and you know what? You got to respect it, because they're just going with what they think works, and they're not changing their mind, and that is the most American thing you could possibly see. As Michael Hafler-Dawson is pulling into the pit lane, it's been a very quiet race for him ever since his lap 1 incident. Will be pitting from 13th overall. Somehow, though, has found himself 3rd in class. So very well done. 2nd in the LMP2's pro category, and then 3rd overall, with Lucas Diaz having a very, very strong race. He's getting that car serviced, and I'd expect in the next couple of laps, maybe in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll start to see more drivers pull into the pit lane for the very first time in this race.
Yeah, certainly will do. Interestingly for Hafler-Dawson, he's gone for tyres as well, so we saw him up on the air jacks there as I think 2 cars were about to zoom past him. A sea of green it was very quickly as he comes out of pit lane now. Who was that shooting on past? It was Aston Wilby, and I think one of the virtual drivers as well in his LMDH. Here comes Hafler-Dawson out. I was going to say keep an eye on him though, because he's got cold tyres now, where he's put some new boots on that LMP2 car. We saw him make that mistake here actually on lap number 1. He's managed to navigate it this time by no problems. A little bit of weaving to warm up, but he's got an GTP behind him. He's going to have to keep his wits about him.
Yeah, the virtual driver there, I think that is Uret, will not be happy with him weaving in front of him through Villeneuve, but will nevertheless go up the inside. And, there it is. Ludovic Uret, I got it right. You know what? I'm learning all these cars, and it's a great old time. I do love the green on the virtual driver's car, but I do love the variety that we also get sometimes, very sometimes, because there's a lot of green on this grid. And you'd have to think for Michael Hafler-Dawson, he will be chasing down a very green car very, very soon in Aston Wilby. Given that Michael Hafler-Dawson has taken tyres, just by principle of racing, he will be quicker, he'll have more grip in comparison to Aston Wilby, and that could be a very fun battle at some point.
It will be. The only thing I will add to that, though, Dan, is he's going to be very slow for the next 2 laps as he tries to bring them up to temp. So, yes, after that, he should be quicker than those around who haven't pitted yet, but also maybe won't go for a tyre stop or tyre change, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see how that one unfolds. But you mentioned the delivery of Juret's virtual driver's car. I mean, to me, this is a big leap and a jump. But it reminds me of the BAR from Formula 1, where they decided to go right down the middle, 2 sides of the car, 2 different colours. A little bit similar. You've got grey on the right as we look at it now, and green on the left. It's just not perfectly down the centre. Yeah,
I mean, that was a very, very silly car. It was before, certainly, I was around, but it is a bit reminiscent of that. I do love the colours that we get on the grid. I feel like in racing series, in particular Formula One, in the last couple of years, it's all been very grey. White, black and grey is sort of the colour schemes because the paint is too heavy. But that, of course, wouldn't make a difference here in iRacing, and this is absolutely brilliant to see. Well, actually, you say that the paint on the circuit causes issues, so maybe the paint on the cars does as well. You never know with this game. It is absolutely brilliant iRacing. I'm loving every minute commentating here. But you're at 10 out of 10 car for him.
Yeah, fair play, virtual drivers. You've done very well indeed. As we're going to jump back here to Manatee Racing, Norbert Tomasz, your overall leader, still in this race and has opened that gap to about 10 seconds once again between himself and Nucera. Going to get a replay. Not too sure what this is here, but it's Fabio Grassetto. I believe he's behind Diaz there. The LMP2 in front of him. That purple, very striking and jumping out at me into Aqua Minerale, and round he goes. Or is that he's going to hold that, isn't he? Wow, that was impressive.
Very close to the gravel there for Fabio Grassetto. I thought he might have made a move on Lucas Diaz. Then he just completely drops it through Aqua Minerale. That would have been a very, very terrifying moment for him there. He might need to go knock on the door of the next garage over in Matthew Crisp for another pair of pants as well, since Matthew Crisp changed his earlier. Grassetto will be definitely doing the same. That was a very, very scary moment for him. Kept out of the gravel though, kept the car running, and he will sheepishly rejoin the circuit as we once again see Norbert Tomasz yet to pit in this race. Here is Simone Nucera, still lapping relatively close to his best overall time. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, and Tarowski as well, pretty close to his overall best, but he is consistently slower than Nucera in front of him. Then we jump back to Julian Reti, the leader of the amateur class. His teammate Ludovic Juret following in behind a 1-2 for virtual drivers by TX3. Zoltan Bedo is at a very, very quiet race. He's by himself by about 9 seconds to the car in front, and 4.2 to Leo Leung in behind, who's got an LMP2 around his outside. Oh dear.
Ooh.
Oh,
Who was that?
That's
Was that Williams? No, it was the Wilkins. Sorry, Wilkins. In he comes. Has he just picked up a bunch of damage from that car? I think he may have done. And the question I now have, Dan, has Wilkins already used his fast repair? We're going to find out, because if he's there for a while, and what I mean by a while is anything more than, I'd say, 15 seconds, then I think it's fair to say he hasn't got a fast repair. But we'll have to see. Still coming down this incredibly long pit lane that they have here at Imola. He's not stopping, so he's going all the way through, and I don't think I know. It's a drive-through. It's not a pit stop. He doesn't need the fast repair. Clearly didn't have enough damage, but does have to serve the drive-through for too many incident points. Yeah,
well, it's certainly been an interesting race for Nathaniel Wilkins. I think we heard something in our ear about a drive-through for Wilkins for some sort of speeding or whatever, but very, very unfortunate for him there. It's been a tough race. He's now on circuit behind Lucas Diaz, which is very disappointing when you consider the gaps between the gap in pace between the LMP2s and such. As here we are looking at a replay of Nathaniel Wilkins. Leo Leung and the LMP2 is just in front, and yeah, they just kind of their paths cross, and then Leung. Yeah, You've got to put it on Leo Leung there. You're not really meant to give your opinions, but I gotta say, he kind of did just drive back onto the track.
No, I think you're right there, Dan. I think sometimes that when it is fairly obvious, I don't think anyone's going to bat an eyelid. But yeah, we do try to keep it impartial, of course. But yeah, I think you can pretty much pin that one on Leung. He was the one, of course, not off the circuit, but he was out of shape and still had to then rejoin it in a safe manner, and certainly didn't hold his brakes. He tried to rejoin a bit too soon, I would say, on that front. But yeah, Wilkins bearing the brunt of it, as in comes the LMP2 leader in Lucas Diaz, of course, the amateur driver here for the LMP2 category, but leading overall. I do want to check, has Ibram already come in? He has. So Ibram has already done his stop. This is Diaz finally going for his. Let's see where he comes out in relation to Ibram. And interestingly, no tyres going on his car.
Nope, so it should be a relatively quick pit stop for Lucas Diaz as he gets refueled and will be able to go to the end. Ibram is closing up to him. He's about 0.3 miles away on circuit, as you can see from the timing tower. Ibram will be ahead of Lucas Diaz. He's coming down the start-finish straight now. There he is. We are watching on with James Ibram getting overtaken by a GTP, and there is Lucas Diaz coming into the picture on the left-hand side of your screen. The gap between the pair of them, 3 seconds. That should stretch out as Lucas Diaz gets up to speed, but he won't have any problems getting those tyres up to temperature since they're already warm from 29 laps of racing today.
Yeah, well, the question is now is can he get them to the end? I think Imola, from memory as well at least, fairly abrasive in terms of tyre use, but I mean, I don't think it's the worst circuit of the bunch here that we have available to us for iRacing, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of pace he can manage, especially in these last 15 minutes or so. But yeah, splash and dash for Lucas Diaz, and the gap between him and Ibram is 3.5 seconds, so keep an eye on that one if it goes up or down, as he just tagged one of the virtual drivers through Piratella. As Ethan Marone, I think he just ran out of fuel there in the pit lane. That is got to be gutting for him. Round Ravazza 1, round Ravazza 2, all well and good. He's going to come into the pit. You'll probably hear it spluttering in a minute. Let's see. What's he done here?
That's in the pits. I think.
Oh, he's given it up, whatever's happened. Being told potentially sped.
Yeah, I think he's having a poor race. He's sped into the pit lane, and that is, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, it's been a very frustrating run for Ethan Marone. I was thinking it was very interesting, and you can see on the dashboard there he gets a blue indicator. Maybe that means that he sped, and he's decided, yep, never mind. Next week I'll come back and do whatever. But very disappointing for Ethan Marone deciding to call it quits. And I thought it was weird that he would have run out of fuel, because he's already pitted once in this race, so that is him done and out of the race. And that is another GTP calling it quits.
I was going to say, now you mention it, I remember him pitting, so yeah, I don't know what I was talking about, but either way, caught up in the moment. And yeah, Marone out, and we have lost another one, unfortunately. But I don't know why he was coming back into the pits then in the first place, unless he's got damage somewhere. I don't know. Either way, Marone is out, Tomas is still leading, and he still has a sizable gap over Nocera and Trotsky in second and third.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really been extending at this point in the race. I think Tamas is just kind of managing his pace, keeping it consistent, keeping it within the white lines, and he will pull into the pit lane this time by, and it will be interesting to see how will Nocera react coming through. I'd assume Ravazza 2 now. There is Nocera deciding to stay out on circuit. He should have to make a pit stop at some point in this race. Balázs Tarowski will also be staying out on circuit, and he will overtake Tamas. Now it'll be interesting, will Retty be able to get through on Tamas? And what about Uret as well? Could this be some traffic to get in the way of Tamas?
It certainly could play into the hands then of Nocera on that front. However, Tamas has got so much speed, and he really would expect a lot of the other drivers to follow him in either the lap after, so the next time they come back around again, or failing that one more at a push. It's going to be very tricky, you know, for drivers to go much longer than Tamas. Of course, Tamas, we've seen, can be very good on his fuel. We know that from Fuji, where him and his teammate decided to go the entire race without stopping, the only two out there to do so. So we know he can save fuel. We know he is good on it and still has pace to boot, even while doing so. It's just a matter of how many laps can the guys in front of him go, or will they eventually get in the way, like you said?
Yeah, well, Tamas is happy that he's come out in clear air. He's got no one really all that close in front of him. Here is Simone Nocera. Could he look to bite the bullet and come in this time by? We'll have to wait and see. Tarowski is 6.2 back, so there's no real threat from behind. I wonder what the play is here for Simone Nocera. What is he thinking in that cockpit? And he's thinking, it is time that I come into the pit lane. Playing it safe is Nocera, and I don't blame him.
No, it certainly makes sense. Question is, how long is he going to be stationary, putting fuel in that car? I can't imagine it's going to be 10 seconds less than Tomas to put him on level pegging, but it would be absolutely something if we saw that. Either way, I think that's Chorosky also coming in, stopping right in front of Nucera as well. Retty also into pit lane there. They all are stopped, and there goes Nucera once again. Oh, sorry, that's Choros. That is Nucera, and there goes Tomas through.
And I wonder where are they going to come out in comparison to John Williams, who's been going under the radar at points in this race. Here is Williams out of Ravazza. Everyone else is pulling out of the pit lane. Nucera and Tarozki are already on circuit, and it seems like the play hasn't really gone to plan for John Williams. He is behind Julian Retty, and with a couple of cars. Well, there's two LMPs right in front. That's Aston Wilby, and I believe Frigerio right in front of him there, as he will pull to the inside of Wilby and now try and close the rear of Julian Retty. But the play to pit early has not worked out for John Williams. When you think about how close he was right with Nucera and Tarozki, and of course they've gone their separate ways in this race. But to be 5 seconds to the rear of Tarozki, very disappointing.
I mean, it's disappointing, yes, for him, but I mean, it is his debut in this top class. So at the same time, I'm not going to take really it away from him, because he tried something different. He wanted to see if maybe he could make an alternate strategy work. It hasn't paid off. Real big shame on that front, but I mean, he's not out of this race by any stretch of the imagination. He's still got Retty in his sights right there in front of him. I mean, of course, different category, different classes, but the same overall category. So he'll want to try and get that fourth overall back at a bare minimum. And even then, he's only 5 seconds off of Tarozki. I would say for your debut night against these guys that have been racing the top class all season long, you can certainly hold your head high by the time you reach that checkered flag.
Oh, no, I certainly didn't mean it to be a slate on him. He's driven...
Oh, no.
Completely fine. He's not been involved in any incidences. He just tried his best to do something different. It's been a relatively clean race for Williams, and he's being rewarded with a 5th overall. He'll have a nice battle with Retty at some point. Here is the class leader in LMP2s. You just saw the gaps pop up between Diaz and Ibram, and it is very close between the pair of them. But I think Diaz is... I mean, it's kind of staying relatively the same, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Last 3 laps, it's definitely increased by about 3 seconds. So about a second a lap he's been losing, Dan. I don't know what you're looking at, but either way. Something has happened here with Retty, though, through Villeneuve chicane up towards Tosa. What has gone on for the virtual driver? And the rear's come round on him. Through goes Williams, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, he was lucky not to make any contact there, and that's Wilby just gone past as well. How close is his teammate now to him?
That is very, very sad for Julian Retty. Williams has been given the free position, and now it is 1.5 between Retty and Yoret, the two virtual drivers, and Retty has caught some traffic in Aston Wilby, who went through, of course, after his spin. Now will be allowed to go back through in towards Ravazza 1 and 2, but certainly held up between by the privateer drivers. Oh dear, Yoret completely gets it wrong through the exit of Ravazza 1. That is a real shame for him, because he was closing with the traffic in front. He was closing to the back of Retty. Would have had a prime opportunity to get a trouble-free pass on the LMP2 in front of him and be right in the wheel tracks of his teammate. But he's made the big mistake there.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's going to cost him. Maybe he would like to go back after this race evening and have a look at his data through RACEDATA AI and see if he can find any improvements or a bit more consistency so that won't happen again for him. So do go check out RACEDATA AI, the proud sponsors of the Prototype series here on Apex Racing TV for ARL, and see where you can pick up some easy temps or maybe even seconds through the clear, precise data that it provides, and see exactly where improvements are made right from day number 1 for RACEDATA AI. So yeah, big thanks to them, massive shout out to them as well. Go check them out in the description below, because they are a fantastic service and certainly will help you improve on the track as well.
And Retty, once again, he's struggling to get through the traffic. I believe that's Frigerio right in front of him. and has allowed once again for Uret to close the gap. 1.1 between the teammates. Indeed, that is Benjamin Frigerio, who will allow for Ludovic Uret to go through hassle-free in towards Ravazza 1. Can he keep it clean this time by? Indeed, he can. Well done, Ludovic. But it's still 1.3 between the two virtual driver teammates. So I think they're going to once again keep it civil like we saw earlier on in this race. I don't expect fireworks to soar into the sky between the two Frenchmen here. But it's been a very strong race for them today. 1 and 2 in the amateur class for the GTPs. And they've been very consistent, have had no trouble behind. Look at the gap between Uret and Beidou. It has been them two in a class of their own, really.
Yeah, certainly has done, and yeah, it is really impressive stuff. I mean, they are second in the GTP team standings. Of course, they do get put together between professionals and amateurs by the time the points are all tallied up. So, yeah, second there. They are 101 back from Manatee, but I don't think anybody's touching that team now. With only one more round to go after this one tonight at Watkins Glen. We'll have to wait and see how that one pans out for all of them. But either way, we haven't finished this one just yet. But virtual drivers certainly in the driving seat to pick up some nice juicy points for their team. And you can't really rule out Manatee Racing either. 1 and 3, Tomas and Trotsky for the overall and the pro side of the GTPs, and a mighty impressive result there as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, the Manatees, they are well ahead in the GTP class on their own, but with only one Absolute Motorsport Asalith driver being Simone Nucera today, you've got to think that the virtual drivers will be able to extend their advantage on them behind. It was a pretty close, I think, 8 points between Absolute and virtual drivers today. So it's been a big triumph, you've got to say, considering the points that they'll be taking home today for the virtual drivers today, as we're having a little fly through of all of the LMP2 drivers, giving everyone a little bit of screen time. There is James Ibram, really uncontested at this point in the race. Lucas Diaz has fallen off the back of him after making that move a good few laps ago at this point. So well done to James Ibram today.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it like they've already reached the checkered flag. We probably should say it's not over yet. I've also fallen into that trap down talking about the virtual drivers, but they are doing a stupendous job out there. So, touch wood, nothing goes wrong from here on out, and they'll be looking at some very nice points come the end of this race. But we still have 5 minutes left, so let's see how it does unfold in the closing stages here, as we are running up and down the order, like you said here just now, as we just saw Williams, and now back to Tarosky here, who's being hampered there by Diaz. I don't quite know how he's got so close through Ravazza 1 and 2, but either way, knocking on the door. Nucera, and then your leader Tamas, and the gap has come down a little bit. It's 8 seconds, but I mean, I can compare it to the world of 2 wheels as opposed to 4 down in MotoGP. And, watching Pecco Bagnaia last year, this is something he relished in. He would get a nice gap and then he could control it so well. If the driver behind or the rider behind had a little push lap, he would then have a push lap next lap to just counterbalance it, and constantly had the buffer exactly where he wanted it. It really is a smart driver, fantastic driver, and Tomas doing just that.
Yeah, Tomas is very good at controlling himself, I think, because he's not been pushing so much to get the gap above 10 seconds. It never really went above 9.1, I believe, at its peak. And he's really, really done well to keep himself in line and just keep it consistent. And then when Nucera's caught up a little bit, he will do the same thing. You're absolutely right. It's a bit of a push and pull thing between the pair of them. You push me, I'll pull you along. So, Tamas doing very, very well. He's a cerebral driver. Of what I've come to notice over the past few rounds is that on top of being just incredibly quick over one lap, over every lap, he is very, very smart. He knows how to play this race absolutely perfectly. We saw in Fuji the fuel-saving masterclass that he's had. We've seen today the gap managing that he has had to Nucera in behind. He's done very, very well to lead this race from the get-go. And with 3 minutes to go, should be just a couple laps left in this race, Tamas has done splendidly well. He just needs to bring it home now.
Yeah, certainly does. Do you know what, as we see the ratings there, you get a sense of where each of these drivers are in terms of pace. I say ratings, they're the safe. No, they are ratings. What am I talking about? The colour is the safety rating, and blue being an A class, and B is the green there. What strikes me, Dad, looking down, you've got Frigerio, 8K rating, the highest of anybody in the field. I would love to see what he could do in the top class of GTP, because of course he's leading the pro LMP2s. I wonder what he could do in the pro GTPs.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be very, very interesting, because there's quite some margin between the we were talking about it after the stream last time out in Long Beach, is that the gap when you get to the top end, the gaps are massive. Even though the numbers might not be as big, the gap between an 8K and a 7K is not the same as a 3K to a 2K. And so Frigerio, that would be so interesting to see what he could do against Tamas and Tarowski, very close in terms of iRating. Nucera is about 1,500 behind them. So it is, I mean, I would love to see it. All of this entire field, it would be so cool to see in the exact same conditions.
Same conditions is, I think more same car. I'd love to see them all. Could you imagine sort of like, going, I think the best example I can give for real world terms is they'd stuck a bunch of Formula 1 drivers in a Mercedes E-Class around the Nürburgring, and of course we know, if you know the story, you know the absolute legend. I think he was in his rookie year at the time, so I want to say 83, 82. Well, Ayrton Senna won out against a stacked Formula 1 grid, the likes of sort of Niki Lauda, Alain Prost, and all of those huge names at the time, and he came home and sort of, well, it's not a real proper racing car, of course it is, but at the same time it isn't. So be interesting to see, like we say, but either way, as it stands at the moment, two different classes, two different cars, and they do still give us some hard racing action, as this is the gap between Retty and Uret at the moment, just coming under 1 second now. Will we see something in these closing moments? There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. I would imagine we've got one more lap after this.
I believe so. Where are these guys? They're down at Aqua Minerale. So Tamas should be coming through the final couple of corners. In fact, he's actually down the start-finish straight. He will get to lap 40, and this will be, you can see the little, the flag waver there, just letting them know the white flag is out. This is your final lap. It's time to bring it home, Norbert Tamas. He'll round Imola for the final time tonight. It has been an impeccable performance for him today. Nucera has done fantastically well too, and Retty leading the GTP amateurs. He has got some competition. Ludovic Giret could try and take the battle to the final lap here.
Yeah, certainly will. They start it now then. Let's see what he can do in these next couple of corners. Gap is half a second between the pair of them now. You can see there, Uret took a tighter line through the sort of kink down the start-finish straight. That's going to be Diaz getting in the way. So I think that battle may well and truly be done now, because it's opened up to a second, and Uret is not going to risk this podium for his class, at least. It's not worth it at this stage, but we've absolutely been denied a last lap battle here, Dad. That's a real shame on that one, but sometimes that's just racing.
That's what happens, and you can't really expect Lucas Diaz to just pull out of the way and just let them all by, potentially sacrificing his own. You could, and circumstances apply. He's 10 seconds behind Ibram, he's 29 seconds ahead of Aston Wilby, but there could be a situation where he ruins his own race by doing that, and you know what? It's not all that bad.
No, it certainly isn't. Shame, but never mind either way, as here we go, jump to Tamas. He's already crossed the line to take the checkered flag, and another win to add to his absolute stack of silverware, or virtual silverware I should say, he's been collecting this season. Here comes James Ibram round Ravatsa number 2 as well to take his win here for the LMP2 class and his category on the pro side of things as well. Fantastic result for him, as we also have had Nucera Tarowski cross the line. Grissetta is going to come home second in his amateur class, so Diaz easily picks up the win there for him. More drivers crossing it. Retty, Juret. Here comes Diaz to take his win for the LMP2 amateur class. Second overall. Brilliant race to him there. Probably felt like a lonely one in a bit of no man's land, but still a fantastic result.
Yeah, and his Aston will be second in class and should be taking, if I'm not mistaken, the championship lead in the LMP2 Pros. Michael Hafler-Larsen will be third in the LMP2 Pro class. Aston will come across the line. A very strong performance from him today, starting last on the grid, 12th overall. Decent performance from him. Michael Hafler-Larsen, after crashing off in the first lap, has done very well to recover to a podium in class. Crisp should be coming across the line soon. Grosseto has already finished, and you've got to say, 16th position. Benjamin Frigerio, very disappointing from him today.
He'll be disappointed. The only thing that goes his way to a certain degree is the fact that he will still pick up some points. He did finish within 6 laps of the class leader, so he will pick up the points for 5th, and so that does mean he's not completely out of this championship as far as I can tell in terms of the point standings. But I mean, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle when we head to the final round next time at Watkins Glen. But the entire grid, and here are your race results all finished. So Tomas will take the win for Manatee Racing once again, and Simone Nacera will come home in second for Absolute Motorsport, and then the sister Manatee car in Balazs Swarovski home in third, and that is your podium. Brilliant outing for John Williams on his debut for the GTP class. He'll be home 4th, and then we have Julien Retti with his class win there for 5th overall, and Ludovic Juret is 6th. So virtual drivers 1-2 in class. Fantastic result for those guys as well. Zoltan Bedo will come home in 7th and 3rd overall for class, with Leo Leong in 8th, Nathaniel Wilkins 9th, and then we get to the LMP2s. James Ibram takes home the win for that category and the pros, and then Lucas Diaz home in 2nd overall for class and 1st for the amateur side of things. Brilliant result for him. Aston will be 12th, Michael Hafler-Larsen 13th, Matthew Crisp 14th, Fabio Grosseto 15th, and Benjamin Frigerio is going to be 16th and the final car to finish the classifications. We do have Ethan Marone and Cedric Holborn, who unfortunately did not finish the race. They are classified but won't score any points. Race results done and dusted, Dan. I mean, I think we've got one interview waiting at the moment. I mean, what a race it was. It's a bit of a slow burner, but still going to be crucial for championships, I feel, particularly for that LMP2 Pro category.
Absolutely. I mean, Frigerio having a very tough race today. Aston will be capitalising on it very, very well indeed. That will be a very good battle to watch next time out in Watkins Glen. We do have Michael Hafler-Larsen waiting for an interview. We'll bring him in just a few moments time, but I mean, that was after last time out in Long Beach, that was a very clean race, but I think they had some great battles throughout, and I gotta say I had a great time here at Imola.
Yeah, me too, indeed. Well, why don't we have a chat with Hafler-Larsen, and let's bring him in. And Dan, would you like to take this one, or shall I?
You go for it, I think.
I'll go for it. Lovely. Hello, Michael. Congratulations on the result today. 3rd in class, 3rd place at least. I mean, how was that one for you out there? It looked like a bit of a slow burner for us here.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying considering I spun there out of turn 2 or 3 on the first lap. Basically had to just try to catch up 10 seconds again, and finishing like 2 seconds or whatever it was now in the end to Wilby. It's a bit frustrating considering that I have 2 0 points rounds and still somewhat in the title hunt.
Yeah, you certainly are indeed. I mean, going into Watkins Glen next time, I don't know if the overall class win is on for you, but certainly a podium could be up for grabs. I mean, how confident are you at Watkins Glen?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, honestly. But, I mean, pace has been good last week and this week, so I think Watkins is going to be pretty similar. I mean, it's not really a challenging track in a way. It's a very flowing track, so just keep the minimum speed up and hope the tire leg isn't too bad, and I should have the pace.
Certainly, and you mentioned your sort of spin at the beginning, Michael. I mean, of course, that immediately put maybe a bit of a hole to the overall win for today, but you fought your way through the field. I mean, what were your emotions in the car, especially after you had that spin early on?
My teammate Fabio put it very good when he got a 20 instant point limit mid-race. He was swearing a lot in Italian, and if I could, I would have done the same, but sadly I can't. So I'll have to do with swearing in Swedish, which was a lot of.
I can completely understand, but I mean, you've still got to feel pretty good managing to fight your way back up, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm happy with the way it finished. Like, I started P4 overall, so finishing P4 overall, I'll take it. I'm happy with that, but it stings a bit. I'll get over it tomorrow.
Understandable, but yeah, congratulations on the result either way, Michael. Fantastic having you here. We look forward to the final round next week. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give any special thanks to?
Yeah, shout out to my teammate and all the guys over at Alcantech for always having a good time with us and just practicing, like making it less boring to practice.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations once again. Well done to you and the team, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Brilliant. Michael Halfledarson for Alcantech, and we've got a few more people that have joined in the meantime. Dan, is there anyone particularly you'd like to have a chat with, Retty or Ibram?
Let's bring in Julian Retty, the winner of the GTP Amateurs today. Julian, how are you today?
Good evening, guys. Fine. With this victory, fine. Very difficult race tonight. So yeah, very happy to win again. For victories for me. So it's very good.
Yeah, coming into this one today, Imola is a very different circuit to Long Beach last time out. How were the confidence levels? What were you feeling about this circuit?
I like this track, but very tricky. Very tricky. These conditions are very tricky, so difficult to find the grip. Yeah, Ludo is very near to me behind, so yeah, the pace is not very good for me at the end. So yeah, very happy to win.
Of course, you were very close throughout the entire race with your teammate Juret today. What was the plan between yourself and your teammate that helped you secure a 1-2 in class?
To be honest, there is no plan. Just to keep the cars on the track. After with the pace of me and Ludo, it's just to find the best pace and finish the race.
I mean, right at the end as well, he got very close to you, but I think the LMP2 of Lucas Diaz kind of saved your backside heading into that first corner for the final time. Were you feeling the pressure from Ludo behind?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Why? Because the championship and second time I don't want to crash again. Last week in beach, I crashed 2 times. I'm not very happy to do that, but yeah, it's very, very tricky today.
Yeah, and we head back to America next time out, this time to Watkins Glen for the final race of the season. How are you feeling about that circuit?
I'm very, very happy to race in Watkins. I like this track, but the only target next week is to finish the race and to win the championship. Is the only goal.
Yeah, well, you can, for now at least, go and celebrate your win. Thank you for joining us. Before we let you go off and spray the champagne and have a drink, is there anyone you wanna give a shout out to?
Yeah, the champagne we will see in June with the team in Le Mans. We go to 24 hours to Le Mans with the virtual driver. So yeah, if we win the championship, yes, a lot of champagne for us.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Well, really well done once again. We will let you get away. Julian Retty, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Now, Ashley, we've got one more interviewee at hand. James Ibram is in our waiting room. We can bring him in, I believe, now, and we can. I'll let you have a chat with him.
Oh, well, thank you very much. If James is indeed there, because he's amongst me. Oh, he's taking off. Fantastic. Hello, James. Welcome in to the commentary booth. I mean, a win for you tonight in the LMP2s. That's got to feel pretty good after that one.
Yeah, I think this might even be my first win in ARL. So it's felt like a long time coming. I'm glad it's happened at Imola, which is one of my favourite tracks. So yeah, I was quite pleased with today, for sure.
Fantastic. I mean, being it's one of your favourite tracks then, do you think that might have given you a slight advantage going into this, or was the competition pretty tough anyway?
I'd like to say yes, but I was very impressed with Lucas's pace, and especially qualifying. That was unexpected. But it was a quality lap that he did, and he put him on pole. I'm quite glad that I managed to just get past him very early on, because he had really strong pace throughout. The fact that he was, I think, under 10 seconds behind me shows that, it seems like, 10 seconds seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things over that period of time means he was there or thereabouts the whole time. So yeah, was very impressed with his pace. The rest, barring that, I think Benji was probably based on qualifying and I suppose race pace as well, Benji was maybe the only one that was going to be contesting for the win, and I think he just got really unlucky at the beginning, got a little tap, and that was him gone. So I think it's now sort of really mixed up the championship, I think.
Yeah, it certainly has done so. I think Aston Wilby takes the top spot now after that result. But I mean, for yourself, getting past Diaz early on, or fairly early on at least, and like you say, the gap wasn't huge by the end. But I mean, I think that might be a bit down to sort of the traffic and the conditions during the race. Describe how that was for you, at least, sort of traffic-wise.
Traffic was fine. Doing IMSA in the week, GTPs aren't really that much of an issue in terms of traffic, because they're not any faster through the corners, so they tend to just sit behind until they can accelerate past you, and it was kind of the same tonight. So I don't really feel like there was maybe one moment I lost a little bit of time because I had to lift for an overtake at the chicane Variante Alta, but beyond that, I don't think traffic was really an issue for me at all. I'm not sure what it was like for other people, but I didn't find it to be an issue. Normally in IMSA, it's GT3s are quite hard because they're a lot slower through the corners and the straights, so that's where you lose a lot of time. I don't think you lose so much in between the two classes here.
No, I think you're right there, James. But I think it's more. We did see a few incidents, particularly at Variante Alta. We saw a few cars between the two classes going side by side. Had a bit of an incident up there as well. So I think yourself was very, not fortunate as well, but also just sort of not involved in any of that this evening. So clearly a nice clean run for yourself. Fantastic result to top it off as well. But looking forward to next week, Watkins Glen. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm not very good at Watkins Glen. It should be straightforward and simple, but it's just not a track that I get on with. So I'm not expecting any good result there from myself. So I'll just say that I'm glad that I've lifted what feels like my Monday night curse, and long may it continue. But I doubt it will. I doubt we'll get another victory again this season. I think there's a lot more on the line for a lot of other people that are going to be fighting harder for it than I will be.
Understandable. Well, let's hope you can get some good practice and maybe lift your confidence a little bit there, because you certainly are a fierce contender to have on the grid. It's fantastic to have here as well. But so big thanks for tonight, James. A fantastic result for yourself. Is there anybody you'd love to give a thanks and a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the team Effect Simulations. Visit effectsimulations.com for all your sim racing needs. Yeah, we've done my little plug now, so boss will be happy. Team boss will be happy.
Well, I'm glad you can make him happy. Brilliant. Thanks for joining us, James. Brilliant to have you here in the commentary lounge this evening. And like I say, big congratulations once again on your result.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Well, Dan, that sums up interviews. I think that sums up the entire evening for us. Certainly no one else waiting. I mean, it was a slow burner. I don't think we can deny that, but it certainly still provided us some nice action on the circuit itself. I mean, Watkins Glen, what are we sort of expecting, and what are your final thoughts here this evening?
Well, I think it was a bit more of a business as usual race compared to last time out in Long Beach. I mean, it's still at the forefront of my mind as just being the most crazy race I've ever commentated on. And I'll tell you what, this was still a very fun race to go to. I think the circuit itself, Imola, was just absolutely stunning, absolutely perfect for these cars. And it was a very good race all around, despite it, as you said, being a little bit of a slow burner. As for Watkins Glen, next time out, championships to be decided. I think it's going to be cranked up a notch when we go back stateside for the final round of the season. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree with you more there. Certainly going to be fierce racing action, I would imagine, particularly when those final championships are on the line. But that is all we're going to have time for here this evening on Apex Racing TV. I hope you have enjoyed the action that has been put on show as much as me and Dan have here. Big thanks to RACEDATA AI once again for supporting the series and the fantastic software and products that they have on offer as well. Like I say, go check them in the link below. But that is going to be everything. We hope to see you all next week for the finale here for the ARL Prototype Championship, 28th of April. Do not miss it for the final round. Once again, big thanks. Hope you have all enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Racing is all about precision, but do you really know where you're losing time? Your braking, throttle control, and racing line. Every detail matters, but without the right data, you're just guessing. This is where RACEDATA gives you the edge. Instantly analyze your lap data, see exactly where you're losing time, and make real improvements. Know your weaknesses, fix them, get faster. Stop guessing, start improving. Try RACEDATA today.